Kids learn about money from their parents. They know whether you tend to save up for fun purchases or pull out the credit card when temptation strikes. Since they're learning from you, talk to your kids about using their money wisely. Start by admitting your own mistakes, talking about your family budget, and discussing the importance of sharing some of your money with causes that are important to you. There are gentle ways to help them become wise stewards of their own money. To learn more, go to stcumoney.org.
Welcome to Let's Talk Spokane, where host Ryan McNeese seeks out and discusses the latest on a variety of hot local topics. Now, here's your host, Ryan McNeese.
Let's Talk Spokane. I'm your host, Ryan McNeese, and I'm very fortunate today to have Ben Small, Superintendent of Central Valley School District, at our table today. Thanks for joining us, Ben.
Thanks for having me. This is anytime that I can talk about education issues as they relate to our community. It's exciting.
Well, I was excited to try to make it work for your busy schedule. There's a lot going on in Central Valley School District right now, and I know we had to play with some times to have an opportunity to get you here to this table. Tell us what's going on right now. I think number one that people see visually is, at least in the Spokane Valley and the Greater Valley areas, there's a lot of construction going on. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. First of all, because of the goodwill of our voters, we were able to pass a $121.9 million bond for Central Valley School District. And I'm proud to say that 11 months after the passage and certification of that bond, a brand new elementary school, Liberty Creek Elementary School, started coming out of the ground. And that is now coupled with 7 other projects that are underway. We haven't waited around. We are doing things prudently, but we believe it's our responsibility to the taxpayers in our community to deliver these schools in a timely fashion. So in fall of 2017, we'll have 7 schools, either new or renovated schools, open to fully serve our students in the Central Valley School District. Many of our elementary schools were open concept schools that were opened in the mid-'70s to late '70s that really served our population and our students well during that time. But we've come to move away from that open concept.
Those open concept, that was a sign of the times. I had participated in several of those schools, and they worked, but times have changed.
Times have changed, and for safety, security, for controlling the learning environment, as far as when I say controlling, meaning that they're in an environment that is relatively free of outside noise.
Right. Facilitate some focus, I suppose.
Absolutely. And it just made sense for us to correct those and to have our children learning in better learning environments and actually safer learning environments. We'll have controlled entryways with buzz-in systems and the ability to lock down our schools with a push of a button, and then manage our students in times of crisis. And it isn't always just, it is sometimes the daily routines that we go through as school districts and leading schools. It doesn't have to be a catastrophic issue, but managing our children in the learning environment, I think, is an important piece of what we do.
Absolutely. Well, there's no doubt, as I said at the outset, you can't drive around Spokane Valley and not see all these moving parts that you spoke of. I mean, Chester Elementary has gone from complete knockdown to looking absolutely wonderful. Ponderosa Elementary, Sunrise Elementary, as you mentioned, Liberty Lake with their new school. Yeah. It's got to be exciting for you to see those moving parts really come together.
Absolutely. And I think, for me, when I get maybe caught in the day-to-day moments of how do we managing the construction, I take a step back and I look at what it is that we're about, and it's that learning environment for kids, for our children. And when I look to the future of what that learning environment is, for us, we'll be ready for full-day kindergarten and class sizes of 17 to 1 K-3 in the Central Valley School District. So in the fall of 17, our youngest of children in our system will go to school in a classroom of 17 other students and 1 teacher. that's a big deal. It's a game changer for us as we move
That is a
forward.
huge transition. And if folks know the numbers you're talking about, to go from 25, 26 kids in a class to 17, that really is an accomplishment for Central Valley School District.
Absolutely. And it was not within our realm. Full-day kindergarten really is not within our realm without these new schools coming online. So it's one thing to see the schools come up, the economic impact. These are hubs of activity. And the jobs that are created and the economic base that it provides to our community is huge. But to me, in fact, we just moved into 504 elementary students. We just moved into the new section of Green Acres Elementary School.
Oh, my God.
So 20 brand new classrooms. Those kids are moved into their new classrooms.
Right.
I had the chance to go over and tour and talk with Lindsay and the teachers. It was just amazing. It was almost emotional to walk in and see these kids in classrooms that really honor their learning.
That's right. Well, you've done a lot of work. Central Valley School District's done a lot of work to see these transitions coming to life. And I can't help but think the business community really sees the intersection, actually, the business community and parents of kids, and even folks that their kids have maybe moved on, that this is so positive for the Central Valley School District and the Valley at large. I think it really raises everybody up. I mean, I want to live in a community where people are excited to be at the elementary school, excited to be at the middle school and the high school. I think you're seeing it in folks' attitudes around the Valley. I think it's real.
You know, one of the things I have the pleasure of serving as our Greater Spokane Valley Chamber president, and I have to tell you, the interface with the business community and the basis that a school system has for economic growth and development. And as I look at it, it is, I have a saying, a community is known by the schools it keeps.
Right.
And you might think, well, that's a new saying. Well, no, this is a saying that I look back and I think it was in the 1919, in a mining communities in the West, and they had this value of providing an education for their children, and that's what set these mining towns apart from others. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what sets communities apart. What value is placed on education? And I want people to come to our community to locate in the Spokane Valley, businesses to locate in the Spokane Valley, because they know they're going to have this great opportunity for an education.
I don't think there's any doubt that the psychology is folks get excited about coming to an area housing-wise when the schools are doing what Central Valley School District is doing. I mean, I would imagine, I don't know these statistics, but I'd imagine real estate agents do have these statistics that what's the first thing they Google is what are the schools? What are the schools doing? What are the endeavors? What are the activities, et cetera? Oh, well, let's go look to live in that particular area. I can't help but think that's one of the first things that comes up on Google searches is what do the schools look like?
You know, we've proven that through some of our scientific research. I think the last scientific study polling that we did probably 4 or 5 years ago showed that 85% of the community felt that 85% of those respondents felt that the economy was based on a solid education system, and they were living there because of the educational system for their children. And yet I still think we have ways to go to break down the barriers between our education community and business community. I think we're more alike than we are different.
Right. I'd agree with that.
And I think that as chamber president, one of the things I've made kind of my vision or mission is to break down those barriers. We certainly operate sometimes in different ways, but I see myself as a businessman, 6th largest employer in this county.
Absolutely.
And so we have some of the same concerns around business regulation and regulation in particular. But when it comes down to what we are doing and what we provide for the community, I think we have to shift the focus a little bit. And I know you have kids. I have children in our system. You have children in our system. And when our business community talks to us as parents, oftentimes they talk to us, well, we want a workforce. And
That's interesting. That's an interesting concept.
And I have a tendency to believe that I don't want to develop my child for a workforce.
Right.
I want to develop my
your child.
for the opportunities
Right.
that they have and their passions
Right.
that they have in front of us.
Yeah, well-rounded child.
Well-rounded.
Yeah.
And
This isn't the beginning of the industrial society of let's just train our children to go into a manufacturing plant for the next 35 years. It's a well-rounded education.
Right. And so we need to talk because there are tremendous jobs, family wage jobs in manufacturing that are available.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't talk differently to our parents and to our children about what those jobs are and talk to them about the opportunities that are provided
Right.
in those family wage jobs, then I think we shut out a certain population of our students who
Right.
aren't going to do that. I want my children to have the opportunities, and I want the Central Valley School District to make sure they're preparing them for those opportunities
Right.
that are in front of them. And if that happens to be one of my children want to go into the manufacturing field, I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I want them to do it because of the opportunity ahead of them.
Exactly.
And I think that as we shift, maybe thinking of talent instead of workforce, we want to develop
Right.
talent.
Well, and actually, just as a clarification, when I mentioned the manufacturing system, I think what we've talked about is the trades actually
Absolutely.
are, matter of fact, something that kids should be looking more to get into. So whether it's these opportunities within Central Valley School District or otherwise, that is an economic opportunity that hopefully our schools and hopefully our kids are seeing that really could be a next generation of business opportunities.
Absolutely. And then, and what we don't see, and a lot of times, is that our children who come out and get a 2-year degree go to work for a Wagstaff, for example, and then Wagstaff helps them get their 4-year degree and their engineering degree, and they're moving through that. But they've built this foundation of a great manufacturing company in the Spokane Valley.
Right.
And there are many of those in the Spokane Valley. And at the same time, I think what we have to do is we have to bring rigor to some of those programs because people see them as less than.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're seen as less than, our kids won't go to them.
Right.
They've got to be.
Yeah, that perception is an interesting one.
Absolutely. So if I'm in a rigorous program and engaged, our kids will do amazing things. Our young people are amazing, and they'll do amazing things.
Well, I mean, on the topic, exactly what we're talking about with construction, manufacturing, trade, talking about the new schools that are being built. When I drive by, for instance, at Chester Elementary, and I see the components of what's going on there and the skill that it takes to put that together, I think when we say the perception that those trades should be elevated in the perception of what these kids are thinking, they absolutely should be. The talents it takes from an engineering standpoint, tradesmanship, building, is pretty phenomenal to see the pieces actually come together.
Absolutely. And I think that, I'll give you an example of, we have students who have hooked into the healthcare field through Project Lead the Way, Biomedical Sciences. So they take year 1 and 2 at their home high school, and then they can take year 3 and 4 at Spokane Valley Tech, which is a cooperative in the valley.
Right.
And they take that in a very unique setting. We also have students who take a full load at their home high school and take Biomed 3 and 4 in the evening at Spokane Valley Tech. So imagine a child getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and going to school all the way through till 5:30. And the reason why they're there at 5:30 is because they're hooked. Their passion is this notion of the healthcare field, and not just being a doctor or a nurse. There's so many other
It's
other
a sincere desire to be doing that. Let's come right back. Let's take a short little break because I want to come back and tie that into STEM education and hear more about that. Thanks, Ben.
Absolutely.
Snoring can disrupt marriages and cause serious health problems. Call Sleep Better Northwest first, the experts in dental sleep medicine. Their medically approved, custom-fit oral appliances will have both you and your partner sleeping better and being more productive throughout your day. Don't wait. Snoring and sleep apnea can signal potential strokes or heart attacks. For more information, visit needbettersleepnow.com and download our health guide today. Sleep Better Northwest, the experts in dental sleep medicine.
Even though summer is winding down, there's no shortage of things to do. Spokane 7 is the one place to make all your plans for the weekend and beyond. Every Friday in the Spokesman Review and 24/7 on the web and your mobile. You'll find the latest movie listings, restaurants, arts and culture, music, outdoors and recreation, sports, activities for all ages. There's a full calendar of stuff to do. Plus find contests with cool prizes, blogs, photos, and even talkback from Spokane 7 readers.
What to do, where to go, 24/7.
Spokane7.com. Powered by the Spokesman Review.
A special thank you to our friends at Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, the official coffee supplier here at Spokane Talks Online.
Welcome back. This is Let's Talk Spokane. I'm here with Ben Small, Central Valley School District, and we're just, I think, segueing into that concept of Spokane Valley Tech and how some of the students have the opportunity to be within their home school, if you will, or I shouldn't say home school, their normal school, but also spend part of their day at Spokane Valley Tech. Let's talk a little bit more about that.
You bet. When we took a look at in the Valley how we were going to really meet the needs of our students and provide them opportunities, we believe that we have a better opportunity to do that collaboratively. Mm-hmm. So East Valley, West Valley, Freeman School District, and Central Valley School District, we got together and we opened a school called Spokane Valley Tech. And it really is about a high-quality STEM education. And
just for the listeners, what's that acronym, the STEM?
STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. But it's not just offering those in separate segments. Mm-hmm. It's how do you integrate those together to prepare for the opportunities that will be available into the future. Before we were talking about opportunities. Mm-hmm. Opportunities lie in the STEM fields.
Right. And where the nexus is, as you're mentioning, between those, whether it be bioengineering or healthcare or administrative type talents that intersect into the healthcare community. You're absolutely right that you can't segregate those and think that will be a well-rounded education. They have to. I think the student needs to see how all of these come together to make a whole. Absolutely, and I think that as you take a look at even that, I mean, look at the. I don't want to tell you how you do your job, but even in the law. Yeah, no, tell me how to do it. I'm sure you'd have some great advice. No. But I mean, even in the law, in the area of STEM. Yep. In the area of, if you look at the bioengineering and what should we be doing? Yep. Should we be cloning animals? Should we? Yeah, some real ethical issues there. Ethical issues. Yeah, can we do it? Should we do it? Yeah, there's a lot that we can do. And we need to have an educated populace that is able to make decisions because they're going to make decisions. Our young people are going to be in a position to make decisions that are life-changing. Right. That our generation hasn't seen before. Right. Yeah, we have not. I think you make a great point about those ethical decisions of what can we do, what should we do. Some prior generations may not have had the opportunity to have that in front of them to say, should we, shouldn't we? Some real big decisions to be made. Right. However, the real positive thing is organizations like Spokane Valley Tech are giving those kids the opportunity to confront those challenges. You know, I was blown away by a project that one of our students, she's a sophomore, was at Spokane Valley Tech in the after-school program doing biomed. And her research was the genetic differences between peanuts from Africa and peanuts from the United States. And could you use the genetic difference to cure or to deal with this notion of allergies, peanut allergies? Wow. So she's looking at the molecular level and looking at the genetics of these two things to try to figure that out. And the fact that a teenager is having those thoughts and those discussions and brainstorming solutions, that's fascinating in and of itself. That's fantastic. Absolutely. It's solving a real-world problem. And if you look at the life-threatening notion of peanut allergies, that's a big deal.
And this is somebody who's working on something that is real world. And
Wow.
that to me is exciting, and it tells me anyway, the quality and the passion that our young people have
Yep.
for the future of our world.
But you're giving, I have this conversation almost weekly. I think what excites me is exposure. You are exposing these kids that have these talents. You're not selling them short and saying, hey, I don't think this 12-year-old can do this. That's something an older person would do. I don't think this 15, 17, 18-year-old can do this. If they're exposed to it, I mean, bioengineering at 15, at 16, at 17, that's pretty fascinating stuff. And so I think the exposure piece, I mean, there's books upon books written on this type of psychology, that these kids are rising to the occasion because the opportunity's there.
I believe so. And if I were to take a look back, and here's where I think some of our discussion with the business community has to, in my mind, we have to come to an understanding. So, for example, if I'm working in a lab setting in the healthcare field, and I think I'm going to just automatically attract kids there, I don't think that happens.
Right.
I think our kids need to work in a simulated setting that is close to what they're going to be doing in the real world.
Oh, I
and
agree
if they
with that.
do that, then they're willing to take that next step.
I mean,
but if
it's-
they've never stepped into a lab,
No. Well, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't have that perspective. You know, we see that a lot in the legal world in terms of externships, internships, et cetera, where I think it's a great opportunity for a prospective lawyer, Gonzaga Law student or otherwise, that they see what is this profession, good, bad, and indifferent. And they might love it. They might not think it's for them. But I agree with you that I think when you're in that setting, it gives you an opportunity hands-on to really kind of feel out where you think you want to go with your education.
absolutely. And when we get kids into engineering, I'll give you an example. Lambie Engineering in the Valley hosted some of our students in the engineering field as interns. And they were working and getting paid for their work, working on the weekends, doing meaningful things.
Right.
And they have a better chance than to attract that person when they get out of college, out of university, back to their business.
Absolutely.
Because they've invested in them early. And that's the message that we need to start getting to our business community, that the more we break down the barriers and the more we partner together across all fields. And I have to tell you, the healthcare field is hard for us to get internships. It's hard for us to get our students into the healthcare field.
That's interesting, since it's one of our biggest industries in Spokane.
Absolutely. People will talk. I use the word absolutely a lot. I guess I should change
I use that one too. It's a good word.
Yes, it is. We need to be able to break down some of those barriers because the healthcare field here is just growing crazy. And if we want our young people to be prepared and be wanting to enter these fields.
And here.
Yep. Right? I talk to a lot of our business community and business people, and they'll say, whatever you do, I just want my children to come back and raise my grandchildren close to me.
Please just teach my kids and grandkids to come back.
Right.
Yeah, that's
just not in my basement, though.
Yeah.
I don't want them in my basement. Close by, but not in my basement.
Yeah.
And
No, that's a bona fide challenge to educate our population the way you're describing, to educate them and have them come back and want and see that value added in our area.
You don't have to leave this area to provide for your family, to be doing exciting things, to be on the cutting edge in research.
I'll say your word, absolutely, because it's true. I had an opportunity to go study abroad in London during college and really get that opportunity that I think a lot of people talk about or want to do, where you do get a chance to go see something different. And I would be a huge proponent to seeing some of these really amazing areas, but having a genuine desire to come back to our community because of what this community has to offer. In jobs, the diversity of jobs, but so much more complex than that. Standard of living, but the lifestyle and the people that we get to live amongst. It's exciting.
It is exciting, and we share, our communities share a lot of the same values. Our communities value education. I think they value a quality of life that is different than many communities. So when we look at the STEM fields, we know that there are going to be STEM jobs available, or jobs in the sciences, the technology, engineering, and math. We know those jobs are going to be available, and those opportunities are going to be filled by people outside of Washington. I want them filled by people who live here.
Right, that are right in our own community.
And those jobs are tremendous jobs. They're lasting jobs. But I think sometimes we've narrowed the focus on STEM, and some people believe that STEM is a 4-year degree. And I believe the advanced manufacturing realm, I believe that there are many of our manufacturing jobs that are STEM related, and we shouldn't be saying that our children have to go to a 4-year university in order to be involved in the STEM field. It's just not.
No, I don't think it's mutually exclusive. I think it's more complex than that. There's many different opportunities that don't make those have to be in the same category.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit ago about the ethics of some of these decisions that some of these programs put in front of our students. Let's talk about the PACE program a little bit. I know you're hearing a lot, or I hear a lot about that in our community.
Yeah, when I've been in our community now, this is my 9th year. In the second year that I was in Central Valley, I started to realize what a tremendous, my first year, it doesn't take you long when you live in the Spokane Valley to get hooked into what the Spokane Valley is.
Right, and what it's about. We live in a tremendous community. And I looked around and I said, I don't want this to change. Yeah.
There's a lot that this community can change in, but I want us to always have this core sense of community and what it means to be community.
Yeah, strive for more, do more, look for our strategic advantages, but hold on to what makes Spokane Valley.
Yes, and when we started talking about that, I would talk to other leaders in our community, and they would say, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And one of the things that I believe our young people need, and I think it's rooted within everything we do in public education, and that is development of quality character.
Right.
Understanding and knowing decisions and why you make decisions.
Core integrity,
honesty, respect, responsibility. Those values that our great businesses exemplify every single day. What business doesn't want to be known as an honest business?
I would certainly say the person might have the skills, but if they don't have the integrity, you don't want that person.
Yep. So we got together with a group of people around this conversation of how is it that we say we're not willing to let go of these things as a community. And we started the PACE organization, Partners Advancing Character Education. And what started out as an idea of having 12 common character traits that are taught and emphasized across our community every single year. We start with respect in September because in education, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
Every first week of school, every teacher's talking about we need to respect each other, and you start with that. And we go to responsibility, and I think move on through those. Gratitude, I believe, is July.
I enjoy going by the school signage in the different areas of town. When I see it, I always stop and look, and as I'm driving by, I look and see what the particular word of the month is.
Our chamber starts every one of our business connection meetings with the character trait. What is that character trait of the month? But it's about how it is that we as a community lift those up. How do we bring those to light? And the tagline is PACE, bringing character to light.
Right.
Every spring and May, we have our PACE Awards.
Well, and I think you guys do a great job of that, and I've seen social media really promoting those awards. I wish we had a little more time, but we got to wrap it up for now. But I hope you'd come back and chat with us again, because the PACE piece alone, I think we could talk about for a half an hour and what that's providing for the community. So thank you, Ben. I appreciate it, and thank you for what you're doing in Spokane Valley.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Let's Talk Spokane is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask us a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Thanks for listening.
Kids learn about money from their parents. They know whether you tend to save up for fun purchases or pull out the credit card when temptation strikes. Since they're learning from you, talk to your kids about using their money wisely. Start by admitting your own mistakes, talking about your family budget, and discussing the importance of sharing some of your money with causes that are important to you. There are gentle ways to help them become wise stewards of their own money. To learn more, go to stcumoney.org. .org. .org. .org.